What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions, and I will be breaking down Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier versus Robert the Reaper Whittaker. It's a great matchup, y'all. Um, I love the matchup, I really do. But let's look at the stats. Robert comes in 21-5 and is the number one middleweight in the world. Fights out of Australia, age 29, height 6 foot, and reaches 73. Jared, 13-4, the number three middleweight in the world. Well, I couldn't find anything, but I'm pretty sure he fights at a MMA Fight Lab, right? Or MMA Lab. I think that's in Arizona. So I'm assuming he's gonna fight at Arizona. Age 36, height 5'11", and reaches 77. So he does have the reach advantage. In terms of notable wins for Robert Whittaker, you're really looking at Yoel Romero, Jacare Souza, and I had to put Darren Till in there. I was really looking through his wins, and it's like, it was kind of hard to go through and pick, but I ended up picking Darren Till as the number three. And then in terms of notable wins for Jared, you're looking at Jack Hermanson, Anderson Silva, and David Branch. I know a lot of people don't respect David Branch, and they think he's not that good, and he was a bust in the UFC, and it's like, why would you even add him in that? But hey, to David Branch's credit, he did knock out Thiago Santos and was scheduled to fight Jacare Souza because of that. So I'll give him a little bit of credit. In terms of recent losses, Jared's most recent loss was to Dominic Reyes, which was a while ago, and Robert Whittaker's most recent loss was to Israel Adesanya, which was last year. So these guys are kind of like polar opposites of each other. Robert Whittaker is a young guy, but that had to grind for that belt. For that middleweight title shot. He had to go through hell to get fighting people like Jacare Souza, Derek Brunson, and Yoel Romero in the interim title shot, which a lot of people didn't give him a lot of credit for. And I think when you think about Robert Whittaker's greatest performance, I think it's that first Yoel Romero fight. The way he was able to deal with the first two rounds from Yoel, and then dissect him for the next three and get him tired and just stuff takedown after takedown. I know it doesn't count as a knockdown, but I don't think Yoel slipped. I think he just felt due to exhaustion in the fifth round. He took him down, or he got him down on the fifth. So he showed how much of a champion he was. But since then, like, I don't like to use the word decreased or has degraded. I don't even think that's the word for Robert Whittaker. I think Robert Whittaker was a guy that fought a lot of grapplers and looked really good against grapplers. He's a grappler himself, but I don't think he's that confident in that area. I don't know why in MMA, even like if he were able to make the Australian Olympic team for wrestling, I don't know why he's not confident, why he doesn't use his grappling. But in MMA, he's more of a striker, and because of that, grappling background, he was really able to dissect guys like Derek Brunson. If you go watch that Derek Brunson fight, shame on Derek Brunson for fighting like that, by the way. But he was able. It was almost like he was having a joy with him, seeing like, oh, this guy's just gonna be an idiot and just throw just bummy punches at me. Like he was enjoying himself in there. But when he fights like those tall, rangy guys like Wonder Boy and Izzy, he dealt with problems. Even Yoel Romero in the second fight, when Yoel decided not to like really wrestle, because Yoel in the first fight wrestled a lot. He wrestled too much, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why he doesn't wrestle right now in some of his fights, because it gasses him out. But he kind of waited for Robert, and he kind of was able to expose Robert for some deficiencies in his striking and some holes. He keeps his hands really down. He's somewhat hittable, but what really I give, and I respect Whittaker, I really do, but he's decreased. He's I feel like on the downslope now. Jared Cannonier, on the other hand, he had a rocky road in the beginning. He started as a heavyweight. He started older in MMA. He started as a heavyweight. I think he went 1-1 in there. He didn't do too well. Then he went down to light heavyweight. He was kind of decent. He was almost about to get ranked. He beat Ian Kutalaba. He beat some decent guys at light heavyweight. But then he dealt with problems like with guys like Juan Blachowicz, Dominic Reyes, and Glover Teixeira. And then right when he went down to middleweight, you could just see he looked like a beast. And he's had this rise and this kind of, I wouldn't say a rise that's been doubted, but I did not think he was going to beat Jack Hermanson. I thought Jack Hermanson was just one of these young guys that's going to get up there, and he's after the Jacare Souza performance, I just thought it's his time now. And he went out there in his hometown, Jared Cannonier. I think it was was it Sweden? Where I forget where it was at, but he dude, he did really good with his takedown defense in the first round. Even though he got taken down a lot, he was able to, like, stay in really safe positions, and he knocked him down in the second round. I think with like an uppercut, and then just laid this heavy ground and pound on him. Anderson, people don't give him a lot of credit for the Anderson Silva fight. I guess I get it, but he, even when he fought Anderson, he had this, like, even I remember in the embeddeds leading up to UFC 237, he had this attitude, I'm not gonna lose. And I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? They're like, why are you talking like this? And he just has this, like, belief in himself, to get up there, and that's a belief that comes from trial and error. He's hit those rocky moments in his career, and he's been through it, and now he's on the upswing. So that's where I feel like that's the big difference between Robert and Jared, is that they're in two different points in their careers, and that's the crazy thing. The guy that is 29, he's on the downslow, and the other guy that's 36 is on the upslow. And some people might disagree. Like, what are you talking about? He had a really good rebound performance against Darren Till, and yeah, I give him a lot of credit. He utilizes all his skills in that fight, but I thought his skills were better. I really respect his wrestling, his striking. It's just hard to say, man. I don't want to say he's a wrestler killer, but it's just his striking. It's good. I offensively it's good, but I really do believe there's some holes defensively. And in that fight against Darren Till, he used everything. Everything in that fight to win that fight. It was, as much as he won it, it was super close, and I think Darren was a lot closer to taking him out than a lot of people give him credit for. But and that's the thing where I see it here. It's like, dude, I don't think you're gonna be able to take down Jared Cannonier or clinch up with Jared Cannonier in special moments, or even fake, like in Darren Till, he would fake for a single and try to go and do something like that. I don't think he's gonna be able to drop Jared. I think Jared's one of these guys that's gonna try to run right through Robert. And that's the problem with Robert. Is just if Robert was to fight Jack Hermanson, I think Robert would destroy Jack. I think that's a great matchup for Robert. But this fight with Robert, it's just hard, man. Jared's he's a monster in there. He doesn't have the best footwork. Like Robert, he has good footwork. He's able to, like, circle the octagon really well. But Jared, he has a problem where he goes forward a lot. But, like, the thing is, it's, guys will put their offense in, and if they're not used to dealing with that pressure, they kind of, like, break. You could see David Branch, he was going for a lot of panic takedowns in that fight, and I think Robert, I don't want to say he does bad with pressure fighters. I think he does all right, but I think with this kind of pressure fighter that's not going to be, like, as stupid as Derek Brunson, that's going to keep his hands up, that's going to go forward towards him, he's going to deal with a lot of problems, and for a guy that Robert that keeps his hands really low, I think that's another issue he's gonna deal with. But yeah, and it's just gonna. I think it's gonna be a really, really hard matchup for Robert. Honestly, if there's, is there anything else I haven't brought up? I'm trying to think. Even like no, nothing to him, but like even against Israel Adesanya, man, he just did not. He did a lot of dumb things in there. Like, I don't know why he fought that way against Izzy. He was trying to replicate what Kelvin did, and Kelvin has more, traditional boxing skills than him. And I just was like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you not faking for single? Like, honestly, the Robert that showed up for Darren Till, I think he would make it a different fight against Izzy. I don't think he'd get knocked out as quickly as he did. But, yeah, he just did not. He had a really bad game plan there. And I'm not going to lie to you, I thought Kelvin was going to knock this guy out, after the Yoel Romero performance. So, like, I guess you guys could call me a Robert Whittaker hater. I don't hate Robert. I think he's a nice guy. It's I just did not enjoy his reign as champion. He always used to get injured. But Jared's just he's different, y'all, man. He really is different. I don't know how to explain it, but he comes with a lot of power. I think that's the number one thing, and that's what Robert's going to have to overcome. It's a 3-round fight, but Robert's really going to have to overcome that power advantage that Jared has. And the one thing I will say about Jared, he hasn't fought, I wouldn't say a legitimate striker like Robert, because, he fought Anderson. He has fought people that are strikers, and I don't think Robert is a legitimate striker. but he hasn't fought a guy like Robert Whittaker that uses his feints, that uses those that footwork. So, he got close to it with Anderson, but Anderson got injured. And I still give Jared a lot of credit for that. So that's the one thing. Robert's going to have to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one thing. To win this fight, Robert's going to have to be perfect. It's like the Frankie Edgar, Pedro Munoz fight. I ended up picking Frankie, but I knew Pedro might clip him, and he might be able to take him out. But I knew Frankie would have to be perfect. Now, that fight's super close. I don't even want to talk about it. But in this situation, the same thing applies, like I said in the prediction video for Frankie versus Pedro, right? I think, Robert, he just can't get caught, and that's, I don't know if, it's so weird, man. Like, when I talk about Robert's best attributes, I always talk about his takedown defense. Like, I know a lot of people love his striking, and they say his striking's super wicked, but I just don't see it sometimes, man. Nothing against the guy, but I don't know if he can take a wrestling approach because he is a former welterweight, and I think he's just like, he's a big, stocky guy, he's strong, but I just don't think he's as strong as Jared. I think Jared's just going to bully him, man. I think he's just going to bully him and break him down and beat him in the third round. I'm going third round. No, I'm going second round TKO. I think he takes him out of there. I think this is Jared's time, and I think Jared's going to get the title shot. Hopefully, Jared has a great performance, and he shows me something. I need to, y'all know me. I'm the biggest Israel Adesanya hater on YouTube right now. But it's hard to say if there's a guy to beat him. I feel like Jack Hermanson has a good chance, but if Jared can just show me something in this Whittaker fight, then I think I'm all aboard on the Jared Cannonier train. But I'm going Jared Cannonier to beat Robert Whittaker. And it's like, you also got to think about it. If Rob wins, right, it's like, man, do we really want to see Rob versus Izzy too? So I kind of feel like the world should want Jared to win. He's a new opponent, and I think Jared has a good chance. I think this is 50-50. So, and Robert also has a great chance too. But hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. Go follow my Twitter, my Instagram, and eBay predictions is out. Love y'all, and goodbye.